When it comes to your serve and return routine, something that might be massively undervalued is the concept of mindfulness. This little video, we're going to take a look at that concept of mindfulness and how the pro players are able to gather themselves and get themselves into that mode to start the first shot of the rally really, really well. Whether it's the serve, whether it's the return, or whether it's the shot after they've served, there is a real focus and a real attention to detail with what the pros do in regard to this concept. What's nice about this first little video, there's a really nice symmetry between the two players. So you notice Camille walks to the side wall, takes a moment, really looks and stares at her hand, and you got her opponent, Nouran Gohar, doing the same on the back wall. They're using a physical sensation of wiping to be able to ground themselves and center themselves, and just to slow everything down. At this moment, they both turn pretty much in symmetry again, getting just ready for that start of that rally. Both players look relatively relaxed but really focused. There's a few little triggers that they do. You notice Camille bouncing the ball a lot. Nouran touched her headband and is now cocking her wrist and getting her racket up. She has a little shake there, really lifts her racket. And both players at this moment are taking their time to really try and start that first shot of the rally well. You notice where Camille stands right at the front of that service box, serving a backhand or forehand from that side of the court is optional, but she's really positive with what she does. And as she goes to step in and serve, there's real intent behind what she does there. It really gets a decent serve in and moves across quickly to the tee area. Similar with her opponent, Nouran Gohar, she looks really positive and confident to be able to try return that first shot as positively as possible. So here's a second example. What we'll notice, there's a lot more bounce in this example. So you got Nouran Gohar serving now, and she's bouncing. She's getting on her toes. Her body language is good. It's positive. She's wanting to get that rally started with some real intent. You can see she's focused. She's mindful. She's bringing herself back into that moment. Again, starting really close to the front of the service box, and her opponent Camille really starting on the corner of the opposite service box, maybe a foot or two behind. And if you notice Camille now, she blows her hand, she just resets herself, moves her feet a little bit, and is just centering herself there. She decides to do a little jump as well for body language. And again, I want to reinforce that at this moment, both players have this intention to start that first or second shot of the rally with real intent. Matches can be won or lost sometimes in those first couple of shots. So taking that time to be mindful, getting yourself back into the moment, focusing on what you can do for those first couple of shots is super imperative. You notice Camille gets her racket up, and again, real intent with Gohar serving, real positive serve, and Camille really following and watching and tracking that ball around. We're now going to flip it to some return of serve. So looking a little bit more at Paul Collin, a couple of examples here. So the return of serve, you've lost the previous point. Your mind might be a bit of anxiety, a bit of stress with what's going on. But let's notice Paul. His opponent's at the front of the court, right? So he's got a lot of time. He decides to use those physical sensations again, touches his shoes, he's relaxing, he's breathing. He's not really locked in at the moment. As you notice, he's touching his wristband and he's just taking this time to relax and gather himself. You don't need to be locked in and focused every single second. Actually taking moments to clock off a little bit and then re-engage is really powerful. So again, he's just using some physical sensations, getting ready, waiting for his opponent. And what you'll notice now, he's getting in control of his breathing. He's really watching his opponent. You can see now he's got that intent. He's locking in. Takes a little deep breath there, and he's got a little bit of self-talk. So he's just telling himself some positive affirmations at this point. And it's really important to maybe use that self-talk, those positive affirmations to bring you into the moment. Really relaxed body language and really mindful. He's nowhere else at the moment. He's not thinking of anything else besides starting this rally with real positive intent. A little bit more of a self-talk, gets that wrist going, flicks the racket a little bit, takes that final deep breath in. And again, the start of this rally is imperative. You notice his opponent, Mustafa Asal, looks really focused. And as he serves, watching that ball with really intent, really good body language, getting that first or second shot of the rally going well. And in this final little bit, we notice Paul Cole just touching his strings, just centering himself, just relaxing the mind, not getting too worried about what has happened in the past because he's returning the serve again. And he's got a really good little positive self-talk here, you'll notice. The breathing's in control. You can see he's just saying, come on there at that moment. And where Paul Cole is standing, really positive position for the returner serve. Edge of the service box. Some players stand about a yard further back. But he's really in there, relaxed as well, but you can see that body language is ready. Mustafa Asal, similar, focused, really getting that first shot going well. And as Asal moves, Paul Cole starts to move. So there's this real locking in and this engagement between the two players, especially on that returner serve. Ball goes in, and that rally will begin from there. So what I would suggest at this point is for you to think about your serve and your return of serve routine and what you are currently doing. Maybe it needs a little bit of a looking at. Maybe you need to take a couple of little things you've seen in this video, progress it yourself, and come up with your own way to bring in mindfulness, to bring your mind and body into the moment in order to start those first couple of shots really well, and also not to dwell too much on the past or forecast too much into the future. You need to be here and now, especially in these key little moments when that rally begins.